Hey folks, Captain Mike here from Hogy Lure Company. And for today's Hogy how-to, well, this one's a little bit of a strange one. Today's Hogy how-to is vertical jigging with topwater plugs for weakfish. Yep, I said that right. Last fall, we did a Salty Cape TV episode. You can check it out here, where we stumbled across a giant school of weakfish that, well, we thought were striped bass. Well, the tricky part was there was some striped bass milling on the surface. But as we decomposed the situation using our fish finder, we noticed there was fish at the bottom. Somehow one of these went down. And long story short, we had an awesome day weak fishing. Now, this is a very atypical situation, but why I feel like this Hogy how-to is a useful one is the fact that the Hogy surface eraser, well, again, it is designed as a topwater plug, makes a highly underrated shallow water vertical jig because it's relatively light relative to its overall mass, but it is keel weighted and it is heavily weighted toward the aft of the plug. So it's going to sink down, but when you jig it with that keel weighting, it's going to have a very horizontal jigging motion. So you're getting a lot of lures in one with this. And now I wouldn't jig with this in deep water, but like on this particular day, it did the trick. So rather than tell you about it, let's just take it to the tape. So we're in 42 feet of water, sending this down to the bottom and vertically jigging this lure. Now this is a surface eraser, but today we're going to call it the bottom eraser. And this lure can pretty much do anything you tell it to do, which is why I love it so much. And so the weakfish today are keyed in on sand eels. So we've got two colors. We've got a sand eel color and a traditional pink bubblegum color, sort of a match the hatch. And we're just sending these jigs down and twitch jigging them, and they're hopping all over them. And so we've matched the hatch. These baits are keel weighted, so when you jig it, they're gonna have a nice little twitter or a flutter. Almost looks like a vertical soft bait in a way, but there's a mix of sizes. This is a little guy. You can see it just coughed up some bait and spit the hook, but it's really that easy. I'm gonna see if I can seal the deal on round two, but I'm gonna send the jig right back down, the surface eraser. Nope, the bottom eraser today. Just gonna set it down, and now I'm on the bottom, just a little twitch jig, making it dance, let it pause. Still over the fish on the fish finder. Twitch, twitch, twitch. Rise, fall. Oh, missed that one. And most of the hits have been coming on the fall. And so as I drop it, I've just missed two hits. I'm gonna pay out a little line. We're drifting the wind and tide together, but it's 40 feet and it's Buzzards Bay. We're not drifting super quick. Just gonna twitch, drop. And when they hit it on the fall, you gotta be quick. Remember, as this little jig is dropping, it's doing a nice little dart and dance. So here we are, hooked up again. This one's a little bigger than the last one, so if I'm gonna lose a fish, I'd rather lose the last one. He's about the same size, but we're gonna get this guy in the boat, nice and quick, and here we are. Jigging topwater lures for weakfish. What a day. Talk about a interesting way to close the season. I want these fish to keep coming back to these waters, so we're letting them all go, and there we are. So we just went over some good marks on the fish finder. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the boat in reverse to check the boat, so to stop that forward momentum. So now when I drop, I'm gonna be straight down. And so I'm gonna send this jig down. It's really important to check the boat with these lighter lures. We're reaching its maximum range at 0.8 ounces and a lot of plastic. So I'm just sending that straight down and marking fish on the bottom and all over. So I'm gonna send it down. We're gonna start with jig retrieve number one, which is the twitchy retrieve. So I'm just down there. See what I'm doing? I'm just twitching the rod. The bait's just like in one spot, just twitching. Remember, this is mostly plastic with just a little bit of weight of lead in the tail end. And so that bait is quivering or dancing, whatever you want to call it. I'm just twitching it, twitching it, twitching it, twitching it, twitching it, twitching it. And so I'm hanging one zone and natural color. I'm in right around the marking, in around the bait. At some point a weakfish will just get annoyed and have to eat it. So that's jig retrieve number 1. Now number 2 is what I'm going to call more of a slow style jigging. I'm going to repoint it, put it back down on the bottom because we're drifting. I'm just going to keep it slow, and the lure is just sort of drifting with the boat. I'm going to lift the tip up. Now I'm going to not just drop it super quick. I'm having a little bit of pressure, or I'm just keeping up with the drift as I drop. A slow tip raise, moving it up. I'm picturing 3 or 4 feet in the water column, and then I'm taking a very measured drop, keeping tension, because these fish have been often hitting it on the drop, and it's the most subtle hits I'm finding. And so if I feel the least amount of disturbance on the drop, I'm going to be quick to set the hook. But you don't want to set the hook too much because these mouths are super soft on the weakfish. Now the third jig is, I'm going to call it more of a fast style retrieve. I'm putting it on the bottom and I'm just reeling it up towards the surface, and it's just going to scooch up to the surface. And the advantage there is you're covering all levels of the water column, where the two more stylized jigs, the twitchy retrieve and that slow pitch style retrieve, you're putting the jig right where you're marking fish and keeping it, you're staying within that 3 or 4 foot range. Then again, this fast reel through the water column, jig number 3, you're covering some ground.